If you expand the window1.xaml node, you'll notice that underneath there's a file called window1.xaml.cs. That CS stands for C#. C# is the language that we're using in this project. We call this file the code behind file, and this is where all of the logic associated with the UI gets implemented. Now remember that cryptic attribute on our window called x:class? Notice that it says musicplayer.window1. If you take a look at the code behind file, you'll see that the class in our code behind file is called musicplayer.window1. In other words, it's in the music player namespace, and window1 is the name of the class. You'll also notice that it says partial. This is because WPF takes advantage of an exciting .NET feature called partial classes, which allow single classes to be defined in multiple files. Doing that makes it possible for our XAML file and our code behind file to actually get compiled into a single class. And because of that, the code behind file can directly refer to elements in our XAML, and similarly, our XAML file can directly refer to methods and event handlers that are defined in the code behind. Now, to actually make this play, we need to create an event handler for the click event on the button. An event handler is code that runs in response to an event. All event handlers in WPF are actually just methods that have a specific signature associated with them. So let's go ahead and create an event handler for the click event on our play button. We do that by defining a new method inside of our window1 class. Now the signature for any event handler is going to be void, and then we give it the name that we want. In this case, we're going to call it play, and then it will take two arguments. The first of these is of type object. And this is going to be the object on which the event was raised. So in our case, that will be the button, because it's the button that we click in order to raise the event. By convention, we usually call that sender. And then the second argument is going to be of type routed event args. And by convention, we'll call this args. Routed event args is actually a base class type, and this is the type that gets passed in to the event in order to provide specific information about the event that was raised. It turns out that the click event doesn't have any special routed event args associated with it, but other events will have a new type that derives from routed event args that has information that is specific to that event. The specific information could be something like the mouse coordinates on a mouse enter event or on a mouse move event. Then finally, the body of our method corresponds to the actions which will be taken when the event gets raised. In this case, we want to begin playing back the music on our media element. Now remember, we called the media element myMediaElement. Because this is a shared class, IntelliSense actually already knew about that element, and in fact it will give us examples of potential methods or properties that we could set in code on that element. The method that we want to call is called play. The final thing that we need to do is we need to